president pronounced that during Climate Week that this was a con job. This is a scam. No, Mr. President, you are projecting again. You are the con job. You are the scam.
Ah, yes, Nancy Pelosi, the most successful Wall Street trader in the history of Wall Street. Isn't she amazing? And her face looks painful. Looks painful. I feel for her. I don't wish her pain and suffering, but maybe she should spread her hundreds of millions of dollars around to people in need. You know, Democrats care very deeply about, and she's talking about this summit in Brazil, where they're talking about the weather and proving that they're the world's most gigantic lying hypocrites. You know, Democrats. But what she talking to the COP summit, they call it the COP summit. They hate cops unless it's a summit in Brazil. Gavin Newsom is down there, the governor of California. A couple of news items on Gavin Newsom today. He's in Brazil because they're having a climate summit there. You may remember that they bulldozed through the rainforest to make a road so that people on the left could drive to the COP summit to talk about the importance of the rainforest in preserving the climate, as they think it's perfect right now. Just keep it right where it is. And it's just going to take every dollar on earth to fund their dystopian dreams. But here's the headline from Grabian News. Gavin Newsom flew on a private jet to Brazil to talk at a conference where he blamed the Palisades fire on climate change. Now, you remember that they arrested a Democrat for being an arsonist and maliciously setting the Pacific Palisades, Los Angeles fire, where thousands of homes were burned and billions in property damage. Turns out Jonathan Rinderknecht, 29 years old, was arrested, charged with deliberately starting the fire New Year's Day. And isn't that amazing? And you know that the governor of California went down on a private jet to Brazil to talk about the weather, where he blamed climate change for the fire in Los Angeles, the gigantic, unbelievable, epic world record fire in the Pacific Palisades, where Ronald Reagan used to have his house after the presidency, and all this good stuff. A beautiful area of Los Angeles. And this guy, I don't think he's transgender, but he's a left-winger who's originally from France, I think. Jonathan Rinderknecht, 29 years old, set the fire. And then they go to Brazil on a private jet to talk about the weather and say they're going to make it better by flying around in private jets. And they blame climate change, well, the governor, Gavin Newsom, because he's one of the biggest liars on earth. And he went there and said, oh, yeah, we had this big fire in Pacific Palisades because that's climate change.
You're seeing it across the spectrum right now, in my state included, which is one of the most blessed and cursed states as it relates to climate. We're on the tip of the spear of climate change, simultaneous droughts and simultaneous floods. The hots are getting a lot hotter, the dries drier. You saw one of the most devastating wildfires in American history in the middle of winter in Los Angeles in January. 100-mile-an-hour winds attached to fire.
It's California. It's in the wintertime in California. It's still warm. I know. I lived in Santa Barbara for 7 years. It's a very nice wintertime thing, but they just make this stuff up. They pull these things out of their dark and remote locations, and they slap them on the table, and the Democrat Circle Fest takes over from there. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and maybe you guys should have fire hydrants that allow water to come out of them. So when the fire department gets there, they can attach hoses from the hose trucks and spray water on the fire. See? And then they would put it out. Water puts out fire. And you guys, but there he goes. He flew to Brazil on a private jet to go to the ridiculous COP summit to talk about the weather, where he blames an arsonist. I guess maybe he was the arsonist was affected by global warming. You people, I got to tell you, the lie again, Joseph Goebbels, just amazing. The COP30 gathering in Brazil. And, of course, there's violence there. Protesters clash with security at the COP30 climate talks in Brazil. And the tussle breaks out between protesters and security. Notice they don't call them police because they're probably the billionaire private security, but they all flew there on their private jets, and which they always do. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Also, indigenous activists storm COP30 climate summit in Brazil, demanding action. And look, they're dressed like they're in a Mel Brooks movie, maybe a Mel Gibson movie. But they've got their Indian headdress, and they cover themselves in grease paint, and they got feathers on their heads, and they're there to talk about the weather, too. Of course, back before the Europeans got to the Americas, these are the same indigenous people that used to throw children into volcanoes and sacrifice children by the thousands because they believed it would bring a better crop season next year, better weather next year. Isn't that amazing? And again, the governor of California flies there on a private jet to tell everybody that climate change caused a fire created by a French arsonist who may or may not be a cross-dresser. The Democrat Party. They lie because they didn't know there was another option. Boy, oh boy, man, oh Manischewitz, these people. Yes, sir. All right, we've got more on the big stuff, but I do love that. That's completely crazy. Oh, speaking of California, this is pretty good too. California, here's Channel 7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles, California. The headline is California revokes 17,000 commercial driver's licenses for immigrants. And you know what they mean when they say immigrants, right? California plans to revoke 17,000 commercial driver's licenses, to drive big 18-wheeler trucks, given to immigrants after the Trump administration raised concerns about people in the country illegally, improperly receiving licenses to drive a semi-truck or bus. But Governor Gavin Newsom said that isn't the reason. Guess what? Guess what the reason is? Trump bad. Trump bad. The licenses were revoked because the state discovered their expiration dates went past the drivers when the drivers were legally allowed in the United States. So they're illegal aliens. Based on DMV documents, the California State Transportation Agency said, Caltrans. They were transgender before transgender was Democrat cool, right? Caltrans, they called it. The licenses were revoked because state officials discovered the expiration dates went past when the drivers were legally allowed to be in the United States. So they didn't check. You got an illegal alien in here getting their commercial driver's license, and it didn't occur to anybody to say, are you here on a legal visa? Well, yeah, but it expires next week, and then I'll be an illegal alien. Oh, okay, here's your license. Hey, wait a minute, you failed the driving test 10 times because you don't speak any English language, no words, English, no habla. And they say, oh, that's okay. Just let them barrel around and kill people in the 18-wheelers, as the illegal alien did in Florida, the Sikh, I believe Sikh wearing his turban and all that stuff. And that person is actually in court today. And the Democrat Party, they are really, really something. They get people killed. Their policies get people killed. The truck driver accused of deadly crash, here's the video of him driving. It's his own video. And the news media wants to hedge, maybe we can find a way to find the illegal alien killer not guilty. Wouldn't that be great? Man, oh man. Yeah, so that truck driver is Singh, and he is Sikh and from India, Harjinder Singh. And he killed 3 people, a nice family in their minivan, and he's an illegal alien, and he was almost ran over the no U-turn sign when he was doing the U-turn that killed a family of 3 in their minivan in Florida when he got his license in California. because that's what a license can do for you in America. You can drive from state to state, and if you're an illegal alien who doesn't know how to read street signs, then bad things might happen. But the Democrats, they're on the side of anarchy. Man, oh man, oh man. Just madness. These people. Yes, sir. Also, another great story, and the New York Post has this story. Climate scientists' controversial claim that the Gulf Stream could be near collapse, predicting, listen now, a new ice age. A new ice age. We got a new ice age because, you know, the jet stream is going to, the Gulf Stream, rather, is going to change direction or something. A key Atlantic current could be pushed to the brink of collapse. Could be. Within decades. They always have a timeline of decades, don't they? Supposedly ushering in a new ice age and dramatically raising sea levels. That doesn't make any sense at all. They've been telling us for 30 years that the melting ice caps will lead to rising sea levels. And you remember Barack Obama said when he was elected, that means that the rise of the oceans would begin to slow.
This was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal. This was the moment.
He very humbly said that he ushers in a new climate era in which the rise of the oceans began to slow. But now the genius scientists, why aren't they at the COP summit? Say a key Atlantic current could be pushed to the brink of collapse within decades. Naturally, got to keep funding their projects for decades now. Supposedly ushering in a new ice age, right? And dramatically raising sea levels all over the world. But wait, an ice age, then there would be more ice. But you just got done convincing us that the melting ice would lead to rising sea levels. And now you say a new ice age will lead to rising sea levels too. They can't both be true, can they? I'm not a scientist, but I do play one on the radio. Climate scientists have claimed in a controversial new study published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment. Sure. The apocalyptic predictions came as a result of a collaboration between researchers at the Institute of Oceanology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Well, if you can't believe them, who can you believe? And the University of California, San Diego, that's German. Weeks after one-time climate alarmist Bill Gates publicly downplayed the impact of temperature fluctuations on the planet. That's right, the billionaire Bill Gates. Aren't they amazing? So per the new findings, the at-risk current in question is the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, the AMOC, the conveyor belt of the ocean that funnels warm water toward the ocean surface from the tropics to the northern hemisphere. Oh, no, what are we going to do? So now there's another ice age. What are we going to do? What is Greta von Thunberg going to do? She's going to have to panic in an all-new set of clothing. Have to get some different clothes from somebody, I think. These people are, they're scientists, don't you know? Science is not what it used to be. Not even close. Did you know that the big wireless companies have been pulling one over on all of us? And it's time to switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I switched to consumer cellular. I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost in my bill every month. And it's not just about saving money on my bill every month, although that's real good. It's also about not being used and abused by the big cell phone carriers. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? I certainly do not have any idea how much I use. Most people 50 years old and older use less than 8 gigs of data in any given month. But big wireless companies, they shove everybody into an unlimited data plan because they need to redistribute your payments to cover the cost of 18-year-olds that use 10 times as much data as you use. And if you're not the one using all that data, then you're the one being used. When you've had enough of that, make the switch to consumer cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone, and it's really easy to make the switch. You call them on the phone. You talk to an actual human being. That person is based right here in the United States of America, not a bot on a space platform over New Guinea. Real human beings that are actually helpful. And it'll only take you about 20 minutes to make the change. So give them a call today and make that switch. Call 800-760-0702, 800-760-0702. Yeah, now the coming ice age. Now, wait a minute, aren't we dying from global warming and climate change? Isn't the earth on fire and we're all going to die soon? Will you guys get your story straight and stop smoking crack and come back to me when you've got a sane story that everyone agrees about?
There's a theory advanced by climatologists that an ice age is returning to the Earth with glaciers down to the Mason-Dixon line and freezing temperatures south of that.
That was 1978.
The Earth is on fire, and we're all going to die soon.
Ah, yes. Now, former member of the House of Representatives, Katie Porter, talking to her 9-year-old daughter, and 9-year-old daughter explained to her that the Earth is on fire and we're all going to die soon. That was a number of years ago. Now, today's news is another coming ice age, not to be confused with the 1978 episode that I just played a clip for you there. The coming ice age in 1978, and then the climate was going to get real hot. In fact, you may or may not remember Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton, who in 2023, she tweeted out somebody else's tweet. MAGA Republicans are pouring fuel on the climate crisis, some radical left-wing group. And a Washington Post headline, Phoenix hits record for 19th day of 110-plus degrees in a row with more ahead. That's because you live in the desert, and it's July, and it's going to be like that next year, too. And if you're too dumb to know that, then maybe you deserve to have your, sun-bleached bones perching in the desert with scorpions crawling over them, like Ilhan Omar's family in Somalia. But never mind that. And Hillary Clinton, this is in July of 2023, tweeted out a Washington Post headline about how it's hot in Phoenix in the summertime. And she said, hot enough for you? Thank a MAGA Republican, or better yet, vote them out of office. And then she was voted out of office. Now, wait a minute, 2023, blame a MAGA Republican. So President Trump was president in 2017, 18, 19, 20, then left in 21, and Joe Biden was in there 21, 22, 23. And she politicizes a hot day in Phoenix and blames the Republican Party. This is a mental illness. Being a Democrat is a mental illness.
And I asked her how that made her feel, and she said it made her feel angry.
I just went to the Google machine to see whether Hillary Clinton is blaming Republicans for the coming ice age yet, because she is that much of a psycho. 2023, blame Republicans for a hot day in the desert at the peak of summertime because it's Republicans' fault. She is very severely mentally disturbed and a perfectly run-of-the-mill average Democrat when it comes to matters like that. Isn't that amazing? And as she posted these in 2023, hot enough for you? Thank a MAGA Republican for a hot day in the summertime, because that's it. Or better yet, vote them out of office. She's a very bitter, rancorous woman, very, very angry. Go home and catch your husband. You know what I'm talking about there? And she posted a headline, Forbes magazine from 2023. July 4th was Earth's hottest day in over 100,000 years, breaking record for a second day in a row. They've got records that go back 100,000 years. They had thermometers with mercury and electronic thermometers, and they know how hot it was 99,840 years ago. They know what the temperature was. They lie about everything. Isn't that amazing? Wah, wah, wah. Our Democrat Party. But I expect if she hasn't yet, she's going to angrily damn Republicans for the coming ice age, because the Atlantic current is going to change directions, and you know how that goes. They are very, very disturbed people. Yes, sir. And this is a funny story that the clowns at Mediaite have. Nine suspects emerged from clown car of crime to rob vape shop. There's a vape shop. It's right there in Virginia, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Well, they have a new chief law enforcement officer who wants to shoot everybody in the head and kill their children because the Democrat Party. Surveillance footage captured the surreal moment. 9 people, they're all Democrats, climbed out of a small car to rob a Virginia vape shop. The bizarre footage was revealed on Wednesday night on Fox 5's Washington, D.C. News. At the beginning of the clip, the silver 4-door sedan could be seen backing into a parking spot in front of Accolades Vape and Tobacco Shop in Warrenton, Virginia. As Fox 5 reporter Shamari Stone noted in the segment, the car was designed to fit 5 passengers. As the clip progressed, 5 people emerged from the back seats alone, and then the trunk pops open to reveal 2 more suspects climbing out. That's what we call Democrats around here. We call them suspects. Isn't that amazing? 2 more popping out, and then the front seat passenger brought the total to 9, the driver and the passenger, nearly twice what the car was designed to hold. The suspects, Shamari Stone continued, the reporter, stole smoking accessories, clothing, designer sneakers. They got that's always with the sneakers, isn't it? As Michael Jordan said, Democrats steal sneakers too. Just to paraphrase that. The suspects stole smoking accessories, clothing, designer sneakers. In total, they made off with about $13,000 of merchandise. They also made off with Pokemon cards and the store's cash register. That's, I got to tell you, it's a pretty good endorsement for the car. They might end up using this in their commercials. Isn't that amazing? And police said that all 9 are Democrats. Hillary Clinton weighed in and said, blame Democrats because they're just insane. Our Democrat Party, they're nuts. Yeah, it's going to be a good car ad, I think. All right, we've got a lot more news to get to, though. Let's go back to the audio because there's audio. Yes, sir. We have so much good stuff. It's so good, just amazing. The Democrats cut off food stamps. They cut off military pay. They cut off pay for air traffic controllers. They shut down airports. And it's because they had a gun in their hand and they wanted to threaten the world. They need another $1 trillion to bail out Obamacare for just a little while. We're 15 years into Obamacare, and they're still shutting down the government to steal another $1.5 trillion to fund this crooked failure that I called out for what it was the day they announced it, as did thousands of others as well. Isn't that amazing? Yes, I'm telling you. Now, there was an author on the television this morning, Callie Means, co-author of a book called Good Energy. And it's about energy and good things, and it's a little play on words. It's a double entendre, good energy and all that. Nice, good vibes and all that. Callie Means on the television this morning on the Fox News Channel talking about the government shutdown and the Democrats.
When you add up federal spending, when you add up Medicare, Medicaid, what Social Security payments go to health care, the military expenditure on health care, the interest on the debt for health care, it's 50% of U.S. spending. We spend 4 times more than European countries per capita on health care, and we are living 7 years less.
Well, that's because we've had Obamacare for 15 years. That's twice as long as the 7-year gap in life expectancy for Americans versus Europeans, and we spend 4 times as much as per capita as the Europeans do on health care, right? And so we die younger, we die sooner, we pay 4 times as much, and the communists I'm sorry, the Democrats call it the Affordable Care Act. Act is the only word that actually applies there. Callie Means, author of Good Energy.
And you have right now the Democrats looking at that and saying, all we need to do is give more money to insurance companies. All we need to do is put more money into this broken system.
That's right. All we got to just give me another $1.5 trillion, just funnel more and more money at the failed healthcare system that the Democrats created so that we would die younger, die sooner, and die broker. And we spend 50% of total spending in the United States, government spending, is healthcare or healthcare related, from Medicare and Medicaid and military healthcare and the VA healthcare. And then we die 7 years younger. And then they scream at you and throw ashtrays at you like you're Bill Clinton and they're Hillary Clinton. And the big glass ashtrays bounce off your head. Isn't that amazing? And Callie Means, he studies the subject.
And the Trump administration, Secretary Kennedy and his team, is saying, how do we reform this system fundamentally to profit from hospital beds being empty instead of full, to profit when people go off pharma drugs, not keep taking them, to profit when people get healthy? That's the foundational question the Trump administration is inviting the American people and policymakers to have, and the Democrats are nowhere to be found.
And the Democrats are nowhere to be found. They just know they're to be found. They're angry. They're grinding their teeth. They're demanding $1.5 trillion to bail out the Affordable Care Act, which was never affordable, according to the Washington Post. And I gotta tell you, the Democrat Party, they did this to us, and they lied to us to get it done. And the moment it passed, they started lying to us again, and they've been lying to us for 15 years about Obamacare. And now we're dying younger and younger and paying more and more, and they call it the Affordable Care Act, and they call it health care. Somebody needs to be in handcuffs. I got to tell you, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they need to hold press conferences about people being arrested. These are trillions and trillions of dollars. All right. Now, and the Democrats, they lie about everything. We played a bit of this yesterday. Cheryl Hines, the actress from Curb Your Enthusiasm, who was actually married to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They're lifelong Democrats, liberals. She's a Hollywood liberal Democrat. She went on HBO, where they pay Bill Maher millions and millions of dollars to do Democrat Party propaganda, and accidentally had to admit a couple of obvious truths.
The Republicans have been very kind to me from the beginning.
Cheryl Hines.
Even from the beginning, when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
He agrees. No kidding. Well, where you guys been for the last 40 years? Oh, yeah, now I remember. With your heads jammed into your dark and remote locations, you people. And Cheryl Hines, who seems like a perfectly nice person. I wouldn't agree with her on anything politically, but who cares? I see we're actually the nice people, and the Democrats are the mean, nasty, horrible, terrible people. Even Bill Maher was shamed and disgraced into having to admit this because he's sitting there with Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s wife. And the Democrats are now pro-Palestinian and anti-American. So as I pointed out before, Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s father was Bobby Kennedy Sr., who was assassinated by a Palestinian named Sirhan Sirhan, who is alive and well, living in a prison in California, even though he made parole. And so sitting there, and now the Democrat Party is closer on the political spectrum to Sirhan Sirhan than they are to Bobby Kennedy. The Democrat Party is closer on the political spectrum to Lee Harvey Oswald than they are to John F. Kennedy. I'm right about where John F. Kennedy was politically and socially and every other way, except that I don't cheat as much as he did. But Bill Maher on his HBO multi-million-dollar show.
It's sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
Right, yeah.
And that's the difference that people don't, I think, see. They're like, why did you turn on the Democrats? Well, first of all, I didn't. Like I said, we voted for the same person. But I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they've become.
Very mean.
You all have to pretend. This has been the big lie for decades now. And in order to be in good with the party, you have to be a psychopathological liar and fraud, as Bill Maher has been for decades. And Cheryl Hines is just like, oh, hey, I found myself thrown into a political thing, and they're married, right? Cheryl Hines and Bobby Kennedy Jr., not just boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, we played those two sound bites yesterday, but I have an update for you because Dana Bash on CNN, her ex-husband now, was an Obama administration official, and she was talking to Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who's also had just about enough of the bourgeois that these people peddle, and it's a kind of an interesting moment because Fetterman, like the sound bites we were just listening to with Bill Maher and Cheryl Hines, talking about how mean the Democrats are. Well, it is an emerging theme. I don't know if you've noticed that they're shooting people and assassinating people and firebombing Jews and all that stuff. But Dana Bash and John Fetterman.
In your book, you said, quote, I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left. That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
Why? Why would you say that by far the left are the meanest, nastiest, most cruel? He should have included the most murderous, bloodthirsty, violent, drug-addled, sexually demented psychopaths. But maybe that'll be in my book, I guess. Isn't that great? And John Fetterman responded, why? Why is that? Dana Bash sounds alarmed, astonished. How could it be? You're a lifelong, really wealthy Democrat. We're all in the same hot tub here, aren't we?
You know, it's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, you know, we're on all the platforms. You know, really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, Blue Sky. It's Blue Sky."
Blue Sky. You know, that's their Twitter. That's their social media platform, Blue Sky. And the Newsweek headline today is John Fetterman says left on Blue Sky crueler than MAGA. Oh, can you imagine how cruel MAGA is? What do they suggest? Maybe you take a shower and go to church and stop cheating on your wife or something like that? Unbelievable. Just your Democrat Party. John Fetterman with Dana Bash.
And the difference is, I mean, the right would say really rough things and names. You know, some names I won't repeat on TV, but
I will.
But the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won?
I want you to know the depression, and then it's honestly, and the headlines are suicide can't be my legacy for my children. Senator Fetterman reflects on what the Democrats wished upon him, which was murder and death and pandemonium and mayhem. Dana Bash and John Fetterman.
They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that.
Oh my gosh!
I remember one. They claimed
she doesn't follow the news.
Let us down, and why did they have to save his life? I mean, just really I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die. Literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. I mean,
well, I do. It's the Democratic Party, and you're both members of the Democratic Party, and you haven't been paying attention for decades now, certainly for years and years and years. If you'd been listening to my show, none of this would come as a surprise to you. You're welcome. From hosting holiday dinners to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And right now, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, it's a Christmas theme. You can get 50% off the entire website at omahasteaks.com. Plus, because you and I hang out together, you get another $35 off with the promo code PLANT at checkout. PLANTE. My best girl and I, we love our Omaha Steaks filet mignons. We cook them up in my grandfather's beautiful iron skillet. And Omaha Steaks, they offered unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland in the Midwest. And they also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, and have great desserts, too. Right now, you can save big on gourmet gifts. You know, your family, your holidays, your coworkers. More holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off the entire website during their Sizzle All the Way sale and get an extra $35 off with the promo code PLANT at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. Code is PLANT. Terms apply. See the site for details. Bow, 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 bow. All right, yeah. Hey, the Democrats are finding, hey, wait. You mean we're the mean, violent, bloody assassins, snipers, violent mobs in the streets? We're attacking and defunding the police. We're firebombing Jewish people and governors' mansions. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, start following the news. Oh yeah, let's go to the. Oh gosh, look at the clock. Let's go. The USCIS immigration people, Joseph Edlow, on raids they conducted in Minneapolis. You know, Ilhan Omar's hometown, with all the Somalis.
Focusing on a list of over 1,000 target cases involving more than 900 individuals, our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies. Over the course of the operation, our officers found indication of fraud, non-compliance, or public safety and national security concerns in nearly a little less than 50% of the cases interviewed.
Yes. Somalis, a very high concentration of Somalis in Minneapolis and St. Paul, too. And the number of frauds and fakes and lying on their immigration papers and marrying their brothers and sisters like Ilhan Omar did to cheat the immigration cops and by the thousands and thousands and thousands, we can all blame the Democrats.